Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our channel tonight. Folks, we've got some housekeeping to do first. First off, I want to thank you all for being here. Second, don't leave here. Stick around. Stick around. You're going to want to be here for our entire program. I promise you that. You're going to want to be here for our entire program. We have a lot of information to give you tonight. Second, if you haven't already done so, please give us a thumbs up before you leave our program tonight. That would be greatly appreciated. Third, subscribe to our program. Many people are being unsubscribed from our program again. YouTube has now unsubscribed about 15 people over the last week. It's incredible what YouTube gets away with. Please check your subscriptions if you are subscribing to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. If you've been unsubscribed, please resubscribe to our channel. Also, when you do that, right next to this subscription button, there's a little bell icon. Click on that. After you click on that, there will be a drop-down menu of 3 items that come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. That would be greatly appreciated for you and me. Okay? Fifth now. Okay? When you watch this program, you're not going to get anything out of it unless you're here for the entire program, or at least a good part of it. Please stay here. YouTube does not even take into account that you're here unless you're here over 20 minutes. Okay? So be here, guys. Be here. The greater long time that you're here, the greater information that you're going to gain from being on our program. I'm going to give you that hint right now. Be here. You're not going to get much out of this program if you're not. I'm giving you that information straight up. Tonight we're going to be talking about earthquakes in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about a big earthquake that happened just south of New Zealand last night. We're going to be talking about a sheriff's deputy that was killed this past weekend. We're going to talk about a sheriff over in Florida. He doesn't like to be messed with, and yet they're messing with him anyway. This is what happens when you do your job. This is exactly what happens when you do your job. The government, the people, rise up against you. They rise up against you. Sheriff Grady's only doing his job. We're going to talk about him as well. I'm also going to talk about the attack on Yemen. Okay? The Yemen Houthis are supplied by Iran. They've been attacking shipping going through into the Red Sea. It's got to stop. And last weekend, it did stop. The United States military attacked the Houthis in Yemen. They attacked them. There's a real good reason for it. Let me show you where the Yemen is. Right there on entrance to the Red Sea. Yemen's been attacking shipping and U.S. military and other military vessels coming through into the Red Sea. Yemen is backed by Iran. Yemen is backed by Iran. And we decided last weekend that we weren't going to tolerate it any longer. The Houthis had already also been sending out terrorist boats to board the vessels and take them hostage, just like other people done near Somalia years ago. It's not going to continue. The United States attacked Yemen this weekend. Great big attack. Great big attack here. Okay? This is just a picture of it. This is just a small picture of the attack. Let me show you the video of the U.S. attack on Yemen. This is the aircraft carrier USS Harry Truman, one of the largest largest aircraft carriers in our fleet. The Houthis claim they struck the aircraft carrier, which they did not. But the United States Navy struck Yemen. We had F-14s, F-16s, F-18s, and F-22s in the air and struck Yemen. Hard. Hard. Yes, some of our missiles also struck some housing areas near an air base, an airfield. It was a airfield in that area. They did strike it. And some residential areas were struck by missiles. Okay, we're sorry about that. A total of 31 terrorists have been killed by the attack on Yemen. Hopefully they will have learned something. Hopefully they will have learned something. Okay? I almost doubt it, because those type of people don't learn anything. They honestly don't. I'm sorry for that. Okay? The Houthis had been attacking our Navy ships and supply ships. Great big supply ships carrying supplies over into Israel and other countries in that area. Last week, President Trump got tired of it, and our military ships went into Yemen and struck targets over in Yemen. Houthis targeted over 100 merchant vessels with missiles and drones, striking 2 vessels and killing 4 sailors, including trying to send terrorist boats over there to take over the ships and bring them hostage. Okay, they sunk 2 shipping vessels and killed 4 sailors during their campaign against our military and civilian ships, which started the war over towards Israel and Hamas in late 2023 and January of this year. When this ceasefire in Gaza took effect, Yemen Houthis went after us. The first wave of attacks were the country of Yemen. According to the U.S. Central Command, the attacks marked the beginning of an extensive operation aimed to restore security in the Red Sea, which had been disrupted for months by Houthi attacks on commercial and military vessels. Houthis reported explosions in their territory Saturday evening in the capital of Sana'a and the northern province of Sada, the rebel stronghold on the border with Saudi Arabia, with more airstrikes reported in those areas early Sunday morning. Images online that I just showed you showed plumes of black smoke over the area of the Sana'a airport complex, which includes a sprawling military facility. The Houthis also reported airstrikes early Sunday on the provinces of Hodeidah and Baida and Marib. We did the job. The United States had to warn Iran to stand down, as Iran had supplied missiles and other arms over to Yemen to support the Houthi aggression. We warned Iran, if it continued and interfered with what we were doing, that Iran would no longer exist as a nation. President Trump was very adamant about that. President Trump wants to have a dialogue with Iran. And he's also scheduled talks for diplomats in Iran. But if Iran continues the aggression, the United States military will react in proportion to that aggression. This weekend, our military forces went in and did the job in Yemen. And we will continue to support that. We will continue to support that, whatever it is, whatever it turns into. We're not going to put up with aggression from these terrorists at all. The United States doesn't deal with terrorists at all. Okay? Next. Okay? I want to talk about a deputy sheriff over in Texas that died in a motorcycle accident in Texas. Okay? Tomorrow, on the 26th, tomorrow on the 26th, there will be a benefit barbecue for Deputy Marcelo Garcia. Okay? The cost is $15, which includes chicken, sausage, rice and beans, and a drink. Chicken, sausage, and rice and beans, and a drink. Fort Bend, Texas Deputy Sheriff Marcelo Garcia was killed Sunday in an off-duty motorcycle crash. Fort Bend County Deputy died. According to the Houston Trans-Star News, the crash happened on Sunday at about 11:43 p.m. on Highway 59 at US 90. The Sugar Land Police Department said that a motorcycle driver hit the back of another vehicle and was rushed to the hospital where he died. Passengers inside the car were not injured, according to the investigators. Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office confirmed that the motorcycle driver was off-duty Deputy Marcelo Garcia. Deputy Garcia joined the Sheriff's Office in April 2012. Some 13 years ago, holding various roles, including detention deputy in the jail and a patrol deputy. He most recently served on the traffic enforcement unit, like I did. With heavy hearts, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office announced the passing of Deputy Marcelo Garcia. Please join Sheriff Eric Foggin and the entire FBCSO, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, in extending prayers, comfort, and condolences to Deputy Garcia's loved ones and all those affected by this tragedy. Please support this. If you live in Texas, anywhere near this, go over that barbecue. Show love and support to his family and to the other deputies from the Fort Bend Sheriff's Office. They would greatly appreciate it. Now, as I've said this before, rest in peace, Deputy Garcia. Your service and sacrifice will never be forgotten. Those that love you and your family, those people that you work with, care deeply for you. And you will forever be missed. You will never be forgotten. Please, again, for those of you in Texas, anywhere near Fort Bend, Texas, you're invited to come out and support this barbecue for Deputy Marcelo Garcia and his family tomorrow, March 26th. The event will be held at the Gus George Law Enforcement Academy parking lot. The Gus George Law Enforcement Academy parking lot. The address is 1521 Eugene Hellman Circle. 1521 Eugene, E-U-G-E-N-E, Hellman, H-E-L-M-A-N-N Circle in Richmond, Texas. Your support would be greatly appreciated to help honor Deputy Garcia and his family. They need your help. Again, the food plates are $15 each, which includes chicken, sausage, rice and beans, and a drink. Now, I want to honor him. Thank you for your service, my friend. God be with you. Till we meet again. Thank you, Deputy. We appreciate your service. Now up to Sheriff Grady. This is another man that deserves our help. There is a meme out there. Sheriff Grady is greatly respected within Polk County, Florida. He's arrested a lot of people who have effectively tried to kidnap women and children, especially females. He's put a stop to it in Polk County. Now, there have been police officers killed doing their jobs in Polk County. Today, well actually yesterday, Sheriff Grady came out and said, quote, "You kill a policeman, it means no arrest, no Miranda rights, no negotiations, nothing, but as many bullets as we can shoot into you, period." An illegal alien in Polk County, Florida, who got pulled over during a routine traffic stop, ended up being executed by that illegal alien. The deputy stopped him, but the deputy got shot 8 times by that illegal alien, including once behind his right ear at close range. Another deputy was wounded and a police dog killed because of that illegal alien. A statewide manhunt ensued. The murderer was found hiding in a wooded area as soon as he took a shot at SWAT team. As soon as he took a shot at the SWAT team, officers opened fire on him. They hit the guy 68 times. Naturally, the media went nuts and asked why they had to shoot the poor undocumented immigrant 68 times. Sheriff Grady Judd told the Orlando Sentinel, because that's all the ammunition we had. Now, that is just about all the all-time greatest answer. Or what? Incredible. Because that's all the ammunition we had. And that is just about the greatest answer anyone could give. I've got an even better answer than that. Guess what the coroner said? The coroner also reported that the illegal alien died of natural causes. When asked by a reporter how that could be, since there were 68 bullet wounds in his body, the coroner simply answered, best quote ever, when you are shot 68 times, you are naturally going to die. And I backed that up. You shoot at a police officer, you deserve the same treatment. You shoot and kill or shoot at a police officer and or a dog, and one of them gets injured or killed, you're going to die. You deserve the same treatment. That's period. Period. Now, does anybody have any questions about what I said? Yes, that is a very strong statement. This is a very strong statement, and I back it up. I support Sheriff Grady with all my heart. He's shown me great service to his community, great service to the country. He's also assisted other police departments around the state and Florida and all over this country in apprehending women traffickers, female traffickers, children trafficking. He's been a great assistance to many police departments in getting this taken care of. I will always support that. And I don't really care what the media says. I just don't care. I honestly don't care. Now, Sandra Goss, thank you for that comment you made in our chat. She said, hey everyone, Ron works very hard gathering information to keep us informed. Please go and give him a thumbs up. Thank you. I'd appreciate that very greatly. Thank you, Sandra. God bless you. God bless you for that. We appreciate that. Now, Richard Smith, as he does here in the chat, is talking about Tarapaca, Chile. Earlier tonight, before I went on the program, Tarapaca, Chile is getting hit with large earthquakes. 5.6, 5.3, 3.6, 3.4, another 5.5 earthquake. Central Chile, Tarapaca, Chile. Actually, it's not central, I'm saying north central Chile. We talked about north central Chile before. There are a lot of earthquakes there. And I will bet you, when I show you the USGS map, that it doesn't show all the earthquakes. They never do. They rarely ever show all the earthquakes. Now, before I go any further, I want to show you this. Okay? I want to show you a video from Press Secretary Leavitt. Okay? I want to talk about what the President of the United States is doing. Please hang in here with me and listen to this. This is important.
How does a president define a bad judge? So just someone who disagrees with him? And is that a dangerous precedent in this case, because this is a temporary ruling from Judge Boasberg that he could ultimately rule in your favor? Is he setting up a standard here for calling for the impeachment of a judge who may ultimately rule on your side?
No, it has nothing to do with disagreeing with the president on policy. It's with disagreeing with the Constitution and the law. And it's trying to usurp the authority of the executive branch of this country. It's having baseless reasoning for these injunctions. And it's a clear effort by these judges to slow roll this president's agenda. And if you just look at the injunctions that this president has faced, deporting foreign terrorists from our homeland, hiring and firing of executive branch employees, which when the president is the executive of the executive branch. You also see an injunction by a partisan activist judge when it comes to the Secretary of Defense trying to determine the readiness of our troops and the qualifications of our troops in our armed forces. Does a single district court judge really have more authority over the Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of Defense to determine who should serve in our United States Armed Forces? Absolutely not. Anyone who has taken a basic civics lesson can understand that, and it's ridiculous lawfare that we are witnessing. And it's.
I'm sorry, the president said he respects the Chief Justice here. Mm-hmm. Does he respect him specifically on this case and this opinion, or respects him overall? And has he spoken to any other Supreme Court justice?
The president respects Chief Justice Roberts overall. He just expressed that to me in the Oval Office, but it's also quite clear that the Supreme Court needs to rein in these judges who are acting as partisan activists, and they are undermining the judicial branch, and it's a dereliction of duty on their behalf.
It's a dereliction of their duty on behalf of the president, and dereliction of duty in trying to protect our country. These judges, especially Boasberg over in Washington, and one other federal district judge who also talked about what the president's doing as of firing and taking down fraud and waste. Two other federal judges weighed in on that. Guess what? They didn't have jurisdiction. They had no business doing it. They do not occupy the highest office in the land. They're interfering with the office of the President of the United States and doing his job. Period. The only reason they're doing it is because they're Democrat. They were appointed by Biden and appointed by Obama. They're trying to interfere with what President Trump is doing. That's the only reason that they opened up their mouths and spoke. That's the only reason. Texas lady said that young lady is sharp and smart. She is. President Biden had a press secretary that was inept. She would lean on the podium and talk out of the side of her mouth. Rarely did she ever face forward. She couldn't talk on her feet. She wasn't very good at it. But this lady is. She answers questions honestly. Whereas the other lady was not doing that. She lied through her teeth. Okay? She's great. She's great. And President Trump is trying to do his job. And these justices that are ruling against him have no business doing it. Now, our Attorney General has gone to bat for President in the courtrooms. These judges are going to have to answer for what they've done. They've only delayed President Trump in doing his job. Yes, President Trump has stopped a couple of different times now, including those going after Social Security. Well, guess what? Doge's ban on not going into Social Security lasted until today. Guess what? Doge has now gone into Social Security. And we found even more things going on. Guess what? A 9-month-old little girl got $1 million A 9-month-old girl got $1 million in Social Security benefits. Why? Who knows? Who knows? Her parents were pretty well off. She had no health problems, yet that 9-month-old little girl got $1 million. And there's been a lot of other things going on. And Elon Musk has caught it. If you want to go over anywhere on YouTube or anywhere throughout the internet, you're going to see that story and much more. Elon Musk and his Doge team are going to continue to do it. And they're doing it well. They're doing it very well. I commend them for what they're doing. We all appreciate what they're doing as well. Now, I'm sorry, guys. My camera was tipped here. Let me try to fix it here. I didn't realize my camera's tipped. We fixed it. Anyway, guys, that's what's going on. President Trump is going to keep doing what he's doing. President Trump is trying to bring back our country. And as a result, trying to help other countries around the world. That's what he's doing. Now, if you haven't already found out yet, President Trump in some areas has reduced the egg prices 50% from what they were even 2 weeks ago. The egg prices went up because the Biden administration slaughtered turkeys and chickens around this country, telling the farmers they had to slaughter them because, oh, they might have the bird flu, or they might get the bird flu. That's why the chicken or egg population went up. It didn't bother the meat population because they slaughtered the chickens. I asked the question of the Department of Agriculture. No chicken was delivered to any meat market anywhere around this country that was contaminated. That meat that's gone out to the meat markets and the stores around this country is free of any disease. Biden wanted to raise egg prices because he could. He wanted to raise the egg prices to cut off people's supply of money. That's why he did it. Unreal. It's unreal what they got away with. Frankly, folks, I'm blown away. I'm really blown away by what happened. Now, I want to talk about weather in the Pacific Northwest and weather across the United States. I've got a slide right here ready to show you in just a second. I thought I had already brought it up, but apparently I didn't. Wouldn't you know? Can't believe that there's even one slide at a place that I didn't have ready for you. Blows my mind. Right here. This is a slide I want to show you. Already, guess what? Tomorrow, March 26th, Washington and Oregon. You guys are going to get hit with a storm. A good-sized storm. Now, in doing this, one weather forecaster said that he has not ever seen anything like this in 15 plus years of forecasting weather in western Washington. The Storm Prediction Center is predicting 2 to 4% chance of tornadoes, and a 10% chance of at least 2-inch diameter hail tomorrow evening, occurring within 25 miles of portions of western Washington. Now, I don't need to tell you how off the charts this is for that region. It's remarkable. It's truly remarkable. A lot of our people who live in Washington that watch this program are going to want to know this. Because your guys are going to get rain, you're going to get hail, and there's a 2 to 4% chance of tornadoes, possibly as many as 3 or 4 tornadoes. Keep in mind, The severity and the exact placement of thunderstorms is highly unpredictable and will be localized. It will be localized like you see in the grid pattern on the slide here. Not everywhere will be hit by severe storms, but there may be severe storms around tomorrow evening, the likes of which we've never seen before in Western Washington, or at least in a lot of years. So you guys that live in Western Washington, beware. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, a storm's coming in off the Pacific, and you guys are going to get hit with a very cold storm that will drop hail on your head, on your house, on your cars. Beware of it. And this storm may also hit as early as the evening commute. So be safe. Try, if you can, to leave work early to get off the roads. Try to get off work early to get off the roads if you see the storm coming in. It'll be to your benefit and everybody else's. You don't want to get caught out on the road in a hailstorm. Highways become very slick, don't they? Vehicles and windshields get damaged. Take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves over in the Pacific Northwest tomorrow, especially tomorrow. Now, what other things are we going to talk about? A lot. A lot. Okay? There's a couple more things I want to show you here. I want to talk about what happened in New Zealand last night. Okay? Just off the southern coast of New Zealand, they got hit with earthquakes, didn't they? They got hit with earthquakes. Quite a few earthquakes. Okay? Last night, the strongest earthquake was a 7.0 earthquake. At the same time, within seconds, there was another 6.9. The 7.0 earthquake ended up being downgraded to a 6.4. Later, upgraded again to a 6.7. The 7.0 was downgraded to a 6.4 and later upgraded again to a 6.7. The 6.9 was never downgraded. Since then, there have been 5.0 earthquakes, large earthquakes. 5.0, 5.9 is a large earthquake. 5.5 to 5.9 are considered to be very strong large earthquakes. Very large earthquakes. 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. 7.0 and larger are called major earthquakes. Last night, south of the southern island of New Zealand, they got hit with both a 6.9 and a 7.0 earthquake. And since then, they've gotten hit with 5.0s, 5.5s, and 5.6 earthquakes, as well as 4.0, 4.5, and 4.6 moderate earthquakes, and small 3.0, 3.5, and 3.7 earthquakes. A lot of aftershocks have happened. This map shows you some of the aftershocks, but not all of them. USGS shows no aftershocks at all. Shows no aftershocks at all. On the western side of the South Island, there was a 4.5 and a 4.7 aftershock from this earthquake. On the western side of the South Island. That's not unusual. It's not unusual at all. These earthquakes last night hit in the Tasman Sea, just south of the South Island of New Zealand. Now, are we expecting more earthquakes to happen? Yes. Whenever you get a large earthquake that's as strong as a 7.0 or even a 6, you're going to see aftershocks for probably at least a week or two, maybe longer. So we're going to see aftershocks probably in the range from 5.5, 5.6, going all the way down to 3.2, 3.5 small quakes. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Does anybody have any questions about the earthquake that hit last night south of New Zealand? I want to make sure we cover any questions there. This was a big deal. This happened just after 10 p.m. Eastern Time last night. Okay? Catherine Sigerson said she's listening but helping her dog give birth. God bless you, Catherine. God bless you. 4 puppies so far. That's awesome. That's awesome. Keep doing your job. You're doing a great job. Richard Smith is also reporting a 2.1 earthquake in the Azores Islands, just south and west of Spain and Portugal. That area is red hot for earthquakes right now, in the Azores Islands over there in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? Wesley 2X says, I wish I could share my studies of the pneumatic fault. It's going to go soon, and they aren't telling us, only speeding it up. Yes. They're not telling us, are they? I agree. As I told you before, I believe we're going to have a pneumatic earthquake to the size of a 7.0 to an 8.0 earthquake, probably sometime within the next 2 years. I do not think it'll be longer than 2 years. As I've reported before, every week for the past few weeks now, there's been an increase in seismic energy and the strength of the earthquakes as well on the pneumatic fault. The USGS is not reporting it at all. At all. Occasionally, USGS will report a 1.5 somewhere either in Tennessee or Missouri. Occasionally, they will show a 2.5 minor earthquake somewhere in that region. But they are not reporting all the instances of large earthquakes. Yes, large earthquakes. There have been 3.0s, 3.5s, and even 4.0s and 4.5 moderate quakes on the pneumatic fault. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow evening. We're going to talk about the pneumatic fault tomorrow evening. Okay? Wesley says even the birds are acting strange. I agree. Animals are going to do that. The birds, the squirrels, the coyotes, the dogs and cats, even chickens and turkeys, all kinds of fowl are going to act weird. That earthquake is going to hit and they know it. Animals can sense it. Even minor earthquakes, the dogs and cats sense it. You can see a change in behavior when these earthquakes hit, even minor, small earthquakes that you and I may not be able to feel. They sense it. They know it. Okay? Kevin McGrew says, I thought I would share that experience that he had with a 5.8 earthquake. I've had that many times, Kevin. I talked the other day about 3 earthquakes we had in San Diego. 2 5.6s and a 5.8 that hit. Another 5.6 hit over in Salt Lake City about 2018 on my mother's birthday. March 18th, 2018. Incredible. Cassandra Goss is saying, Hurricane Heather, I understand weather modifications, that's happening all over the place. It is. It is. We saw that happen with hurricanes last year. Hurricanes don't normally blow into North Carolina inland like they did. They don't blow into Florida and Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, or Georgia. They don't do it like they did this past year. Hurricanes, tornadoes as well. Here in the United States in the past few years, there's been an onslaught, literally an onslaught of tornadoes. Guess what? Weather manipulation, man-made storms. Weather manipulation. Melissa said they're supposed to get storms, severe storms, this weekend in Michigan. Not surprising me. That doesn't surprise me one iota. It what's going to happen. When you get those severe storms, and even that storm that's going to hit the Pacific Northwest tomorrow, that storm is going to go all the way across this country, literally. If you're anywhere near a storm, you need to take precautions. Monday night, last night, we talked about preparedness at the end of our program. Friday night last week, we talked mostly about preparedness. I finished that program on preparedness last night. Watch our Friday night program and watch the last 45 minutes of last night's program as well. You're going to need that information. We're going to have earthquakes, we're going to have storms, we're going to have floods, we're going to have rain. You need to have that preparedness information. It will help you. It will save your lives. It will save your lives. Pete Coy is here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Anyway, I want to show you some information on what is happening in Southern California. In the past, we've talked a great deal about earthquakes in Southern California. They're continuing to happen. They're happening in greater amounts. Stronger earthquakes as well. Stronger earthquakes as well. Now, why am I so serious about this? Why do you think I'm so serious about what is happening in Southern California? We've been watching for a long time, haven't we? We certainly have. Let's go over into Los Angeles right now. Let's look at north of Los Angeles in Del Amo. Look what's happening there. These are not just tremors, guys. What we're showing you here is not just tremors. It's happening minute to minute, second to second, all day long. In this particular slide here, each line here represents a 15-minute time period. Each line here represents a 15-minute time period. The top line here is 5 a.m. The top black line here is 5 a.m. About 5:05 a.m. this morning, there was a 2.0 minor earthquake. A 2.0 minor earthquake. Now, if you look all over this seismogram, you may see 2.0 earthquakes happening all over this seismogram. Well, guess what? They are down at the bottom on the black and red lines. On the black one, on the black line at approximately 3:08 p.m. this afternoon. 3:08 p.m. this afternoon, there was a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake in Del Amo, California, just north of Los Angeles. Yes, this is a city. It's a small city, a suburb of Los Angeles. But you can see the tremors here and minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.9 are minor earthquakes. Let's go over to the bottom red line here. Okay? At about 3:18 p.m. this afternoon on the red line, there's another 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 minor earthquake here. Guess what? All of Los Angeles is getting hit with these earthquakes. And it's not just tremors and minor earthquakes either. There are large earthquakes, and I'm going to show you those tonight. You need to know that. We have a lot of people here from Los Angeles and the surrounding areas. We're soon going to get hit with at least a 7.0 to a 7.5 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault on the eastern side of LA. That will set off all the other adjacent faults in the Los Angeles basin. That's why I'm talking about this. There are faults all over this area. And it's going to set off shaking all over LA. Let's go over to Ellis, California, also north of Los Angeles. Look at this. For the most part, we have tremors here, but we also have minor earthquakes here as well. We have 2.8, 2.9 minor earthquakes. You can see them most prominently after approximately 6:43 a.m. this morning on the blue line on the top right. 6:43 a.m. this morning. 2.2, 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes here. Ellis, California. You also see plenty of minor earthquakes here throughout this seismogram. 2.0, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. On the bottom red line here, the bottom red line is 3 p.m. on the left-hand side. This is Pacific time. We go over to approximately 3:06 p.m. this afternoon. Again, we have 1 2.0 and a bunch of minor tremors here. 1 2.0 and a bunch of minor tremors, and the same thing on the red line at the bottom of the left-hand side. Ellis, California is moving. In the prior episodes of this program, we've shown seismogram. This is called a seismogram, guys. This is the readout from the seismograph computer. There's measuring earthquakes here. This is called a seismogram, showing the earthquakes that happen here. Again, this is Ellis, California. Let's show you other places around LA as well. Let's go over to Rio Hondo. Rio Hondo. Here we're just seeing tremors here. But the tremors have actually gotten larger here in Rio Hondo. Tremors have actually gotten larger here in Rio Hondo. Let's move on. I want to go over to Moore Park. Moore Park is also north of Los Angeles. Look what's happening here. Again, up at the top on the red line. The red line at the top is approximately 5:15 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. We don't have to go far until we get to 5:18 this morning. 5:18 we had a 2.5 earthquake this morning. Moore Park, California. Also a suburb of Los Angeles. Yes, we're seeing a lot of tremors here. We're also seeing a lot of minor earthquakes here as well. Down at the bottom. Actually, stop just a second. About 10:18, about 10:18 this morning on the red line above. Okay, it's approximately center left above on the red line. This is another 2.5 earthquake here. 10:18 this morning. Then we go over here to approximately, actually that's last night. This particular seismogram is last night, I'm sorry. Last night. We go over here to approximately, no it's not, it wasn't last night, it was this morning, I was correct. It was this morning. We go over to approximately 12 noon on the left-hand side. Just after 12:02 this afternoon. 12:02 this afternoon, we have a 2.5 earthquake on the black line. Just below that on the red line. On the left-hand side here on the red line is 12:15. Over to the right, on the same line, we have a 2.3 earthquake, and then we have a series of earthquakes all together. That earthquake sequences start with a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, and it ended at about 12:29 p.m. this afternoon with a 2.9 minor earthquake. 2.9 minor earthquake here. Moore Park, California. Then we drop down to the red line here at the bottom. On the left-hand side, it would be 3:15 p.m. Go 4 minutes later at 3:19. This is a 3.8 earthquake. I'm sorry, not 3, I'm sorry. A 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Minor earthquake here. Minor earthquakes can't be felt. If this had been an actually 3.0, 3.8, it would have been very felt. Still considered a small earthquake, but it wasn't. These are minor earthquakes, my mistake. My mistake here. Okay, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake there. Let's continue this discussion. Okay, I want to go over to Long Beach, California. Here in Long Beach, look what's happened. This is normal for Long Beach. Very normal for Long Beach. At about 12:02 a.m. this morning, 2.3 earthquake. We see a bunch of Tues here. Yes, we're seeing a bunch of tremors here as well. There are 2.0 earthquakes here, minor earthquakes, all throughout this seismogram. But there are also a lot of tremors here as well. But down at the bottom on the black line, we're seeing 2.0 earthquakes up and down that black line, left to right. That black line here is 3 p.m. on the left-hand side, going all the way over to the right at 3:15. On the bottom one on the red side on the left, that is 3:15 also. You can see 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here, as well as 2.0. Minor earthquakes happening here in Moore Park, California as well. Earthquakes happening all over the LA area, guys. Literally all over Los Angeles. Now, I'm not going to show you all the earthquakes, all the cities around Los Angeles. Tonight, I'm just pointing out the bigger earthquakes, the larger earthquakes. Okay? Let's go down to Laguna Bell to the south of Los Angeles along the coastline. Laguna Bell, California, right here. We've seen smaller tremors happen here. We've seen smaller tremors happen here. Guess what? The strength of the tremors has increased here in Laguna, California. You can see this on this seismogram. We haven't seen this strong of tremors before. They've always been smaller tremors, and occasionally we do have an earthquake here in Laguna, California. But again, this is today's information. These are stronger tremors here in Laguna, California. Okay? Demon Catman is poking fun at the colors on these seismograms. Crayons are drawn for battle, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. There are 4 colors here. Black for every hour. Black for every hour. Red for every 15-minute time period. From 3:15 over to 3:29 p.m. or a.m. The green lines are 3:45. Excuse me, not 45. There's something, whatever hour 45 over to the hour on the right-hand side. In other words, it was 3:45 p.m. on the left, it would be 4 p.m. over on the right-hand side. They're all 15-minute time periods here. But you can see stronger tremors here. Fortunately, there are no minor earthquakes here. But I have a feeling that's coming. It's coming. Now, normally I would show you Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey to the north side of LA along the coastline. I did not include that particular seismogram. For just a second, give me a second. Let me see if I can locate that particular seismograph so I can show you. Okay, I've located it. I'm downloading it to my database here. You're going to want to see this as well. What you're going to see on the Playa del Rey seismograph, you're going to see an increase in seismic activity. Usually we've seen minor tremors here. Again, usually we've seen minor tremors here. Well, guess what? It's not minor tremors again. It's not minor tremors again here at Playa del Rey. Let me show you this. Look at this. Yes, we're seeing very minor tremors here, but guess what? That changed here. That changed here. Let me enlarge this seismograph so you can see what we're talking about here. Okay? At approximately 9:51 a.m. this morning. At approximately 9:51 a.m. this morning. Let me double check the time element here. 9:51 a.m. this morning on the green line there. Guess what we have? 2.0 and 2.3 earthquakes. 2.0 and 2.3 earthquakes that lasted almost a full minute. Then after that, we have more tremors as well. But you can see the elevated activity here. You can see the elevated activity here. Yes, we had minor earthquakes, but we also had elevated tremors here as well. We don't usually see this at Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey, but that's what we're seeing here today. I told you there was elevated seismic activity in Los Angeles, and I mean it. I mean it. We are seeing elevated seismic activity all over Los Angeles, and we're going to see elevated seismic activity tomorrow on the New Matter Fault. I promise you that. I promise you that. Let's continue. Long Beach again. Look at all this happening in Long Beach. This is very typical of Long Beach. Very, very typical of Long Beach. But we're also seeing large earthquakes here in Long Beach, as you saw down at the bottom on the red line there. 2.9 earthquake there, nearly a 3.0 small earthquake in Long Beach. Long Beach, California, along the coastline. Now, let me go over to Anaheim. Why do I want to show you Anaheim? Can anybody tell me why I would want to show you Anaheim, California? Remember Disneyland? Remember Knott's Berry Farm? Big amusement parks in Los Angeles? Guess what? Look what's happening in Anaheim, California today. 5 o'clock this morning on the top line here. We're seeing 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes on the top line. 2.5 and 2.7 earthquakes. Yes, we're seeing a couple 2.0s as well. That's on the top line. Look throughout this seismogram. Look throughout this seismogram. You see elevated activity here at State Street, Anaheim, California. Down here at the bottom, on the black line. This black line over on the left side is 3 p.m. 3 p.m. We go over approximately to 3:10 p.m. this afternoon. All of a sudden we have a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Folks, here in Anaheim and also in Long Beach, we've actually seen 3.0 and 3.5 earthquakes hitting here. That's why I'm talking about it. The seismic activity is continuing. It's not abating, it's continuing. And yes, in most cases, the seismic activity in Los Angeles is getting larger. I've proven that. Those of you that have watched my program over the past months have seen this increase. It's going to continue. It's going to continue. That's why I'm talking about it. As I said, we are expecting a 7.0 to a 7.5 earthquake in Southern California sometime within the next 6 months. I don't think it will be any longer than that. I believe we're going to have a very strong earthquake here in LA, San Diego, and further over to the east in the Imperial Valley, California. Southern California is going to get hit. Scientists are already saying that the seismic activity on the San Andreas Fault has increased. It's increased. There's seismic activity over on the east side of Los Angeles that's locked in on the fault. Seismic activity is locked in on the fault. It's about to go. It's about to go. At the end of last year, over just west of the San Andreas Fault in Fontana, we had a series of 3.0 and 3.5 earthquakes, and that was just west of the San Andreas Fault in Fontana, California. Let me show you Fontana right now. Look what we're seeing here. No, we're not seeing 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here, but look at what's happening. The strength of the earthquakes here in Fontana is getting larger again. It's getting larger. Up at the top here on the red line, we're seeing 2.0 and 2.5 earthquakes. 5:15, 5:16, and 5:17 a.m. this morning. Throughout this seismogram, no matter what time it is, you can see the elevated earthquake risk here. The number of earthquakes and also the strength of the seismic activity has increased here. This is Fontana, California, just west of the San Andreas. Okay, look at the two bottom lines. The two bottom lines, you're going to see a lot of seismic activity here. The bottom line, like I said on most of the other seismograms, is 3 p.m. on the left-hand side. Down here at the bottom on the black line here, that would be 3:07 p.m. this afternoon. A 3.0 small quake. 3.0 small earthquake hit in Fontana, California this afternoon. You can see other 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here. You can see 2.0 earthquakes here as well. Over on the red line to the left. The red line on the far left is 3:15 p.m. this afternoon. We go over to 3:17 p.m. in about 30-40 seconds. 3:17 p.m. we have another 3.0 earthquake. Another 3.0 earthquake. While it's a small earthquake, we need to remember what is going on here. The seismic activity has increased here. The seismic activity has increased over last week. Prior to 3 weeks ago, the seismic activity all over the Los Angeles area, from the coastline out east to Bakersfield area. The seismic activity had died down. Now it has increased. Now the seismic activity has increased again. Last November, we experienced a 5.2 earthquake in Pasadena. A 5.2 earthquake in Pasadena. Another one in Grapevine just about a week prior to that. We're seeing large earthquakes hit. It's a matter of time before we have a major earthquake hit. I believe the seismic activity is going to start with a major 7.0 plus earthquake over on the eastern side of Los Angeles, over here just east of Fontana. East of Fontana. That's where the San Andreas Fault is. And that's where most of the energy is locked up. Locked up between there and San Diego County. Between there and San Diego County. Okay? It's going to happen. We're going to see that happen. Okay? Fontana, California, guys. It's moving. And it's moving in a very big way. I just want you to know that. Actually not south. Northwest of Fontana is a town called Miraloma. Just north of Miraloma is Loma Linda, where the famed medical center is. Look at the earthquakes and tremors here. Yes, we have a lot of tremors here. But down at the bottom, we're also seeing earthquakes after 3:15 this afternoon. Down at the bottom at 3:01 p.m. 3:01 p.m. we have another 3.0 earthquake here in Miraloma. Again, this is north and west of Fontana. A 3.0 earthquake. All the rest of this seismic energy was 2.0 to 2.5. We're seeing this also at approximately at approximately 12:04 p.m. this afternoon on the black line, just above that. Okay? Seismic activity is happening. You don't have to go very far to see it. I've got a few more seismograms to show you here. I would ask that you be patient in seeing what we have to show you. This is important. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't show it to you at all. I would skip over it and just go away. But there are several million people living in the Los Angeles and the greater LA area. Millions of people live here. Millions of people travel there from San Diego and north of Los Angeles. They come in here for work. They come in here to see their families. And guess what? Pretty soon, we're going to see a lot more seismic activity. And that's when people are going to get injured. That's when people will become unalive. They'll become unalive. Now, I want to go over to a place northwest of Los Angeles called Rancho Palos Verdes. This is where we had the fires just a couple months ago. Before that, we had a heavy rain and landslides. Usually we see nothing but tiny tremors here. Guess what? We're still seeing small tremors here, but this afternoon after 2 p.m., at approximately 2:10 p.m. this afternoon, a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake there on the black line. Rancho Palos Verdes. Yes, I believe we're still seeing landslides here. Houses being pulled downhill. houses being pulled downhill by the ground moving. Landslides here in Rancho Palos Verdes. My wife was born just west of Rancho Palos Verdes. So we have an affinity for people that live in this area. People are going to get hurt. People will be unalived. People will become unalived. It's literally when it's going to happen. And that we can't tell you because we don't know. I can't even put my finger on a specific date. I don't know. But what I am telling you is I continue to do my research. I'm showing you what is going on. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water. I'm showing you exactly what's going on. This is happening. It's not going to go away. This is not going to go away anytime soon. Linda Covington is home. Awesome, Linda. So glad you're recovering so well. Linda Covington, a couple months ago, fell and broke her hip. She's back home now. We're so grateful for that. God bless you, Linda. God bless you and thank you for being part of our family. We love and appreciate you. Prayers do not go unanswered here. A lot of us have been praying for Linda Covington and many other of our viewers here. We have quite a few family members in need of prayers. We appreciate that greatly. Now, I want you to see some other locations here. Sorry. I want to go over to Walnut La Puente on the eastern side of Los Angeles. This is Walnut La Puente here. Now, folks, this is a little bit different situation here. These are just not tectonic or earthquakes. What you're seeing here is a volcano. What you're seeing here are earthquakes caused by molten lava down beneath the surface here. Walnut, California and La Puente, California are built at the top of a volcano. Walnut, California and La Puente, California are built in the caldera, the summit of a volcano out here. And as a result, you're seeing these exaggerated earthquakes. What I'm going to call tonight exaggerated earthquakes. They're not exaggerated at all, though. They're at least 3.5, and I believe this top one here is a 4.0 moderate earthquake. A 4.0 moderate earthquake. Look at that earthquake there. The top is cut off by the paper. The top is cut off by the paper, but the bottom is also cut off by the agency. We don't know how exactly strong this earthquake is. But looking at it, it is at least a 3.5, 4+ earthquake. The reason they cut off these earthquakes, not particularly this one, because the top is cut off by the paper. When the agency cuts off the top and the bottom of these seismic sequences, they don't want us to know what happened. But this is at least a 3.5 small, 4.0 moderate earthquake here. It is. It is. They can cut off the top and the bottom. They can continue to lie and cheat by not publishing the data on the USGS map. You're not going to see these earthquakes on the USGS map. They don't exist because the USGS is hiding the data. And folks, what does that mean? There's a word for it. When the USGS or anybody else omits information, what do they call it? What do they call it when an agency or even a person omits information? What do they call that, guys? They call it lies. The agencies are lying to us. This particular seismograph is from Walnut La Puente, but it comes from California Technical Institute, Caltech. Caltech is not letting or even having USGS talk about it because USGS refuses to publish the information.
Of our islands, India region, class light, magnitude 4.7, 29 minutes ago.
This is on the eastern side of Los Angeles. You think that the San Andreas Fault is going to let this go? Heavens no. What do you think is going to happen here at Walnut La Puente when the San Andreas Fault lights up? What do you think is going to happen here? I want to know. I want to know your opinion. What do you think is going to happen here? Pico, you're correct. They're lying to us. What do you think is going to happen here when the San Andreas lights up with a 7.0 earthquake? It's going to shake the volcano here greatly. It's going to shake any and all volcanoes greatly throughout the area, throughout Southern California. Anywhere where we have a San Andreas Fault and we have a large earthquake, the volcanoes are also going to suffer. It could actually cause the volcano to erupt. That size earthquake could cause a volcano to erupt. It's highly likely, in fact. But all day long here on the seismograph, you're seeing 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here on every line. The green lines, the black lines, and yes, even the red lines on the left-hand side. That red line here on the left-hand side is 6:15 a.m. Where'd that earthquake come from? Over on the right-hand side on the black line above it. That's where that earthquake came from. 6:14 a.m. this morning. 6:14 a.m. this morning. There's at least a 3.5 earthquake. Again, the top and the bottom of the sequence have been cut off. It's at least a 3.5 earthquake. But guess what? The seismic energy didn't stop just at 3:14 and continue. It continued until almost 3:16 on the red line. You can see the continued earthquake happen. So this earthquake continued to shake for 3.5 minutes. This earthquake continued to shake for 3.5 minutes, almost 4. Almost 4 minutes. 1.5 minutes of sustained shaking. 3.5 shaking. Maybe larger. Then it continues shaking after that. On the right-hand side of this earthquake on the red line, you continue to see a secondary wave. That secondary wave lasts another minute and a half. 4 minutes of earthquakes. 4 minutes of seismic energy here. What happened about the green line above that? 5:48 a.m. this morning. Again, we had a 3.0 earthquake, didn't we? That sequence lasted for 3 minutes. That specific earthquake sequence lasted 3 minutes. And you can see this kind of sequences happen literally all day long here in Walnut La Puente area. And you can better well bet that the citizens who live here, the residents that live here in this area, homes and apartments, felt the earth shake. They felt the earth shake. It's like movement beneath their feet. Your plates are going to rattle. Your dishes and glasses in the cupboard are going to rattle. Your pots and pans are going to rattle. Possibly your photos and plaques on the wall will rattle. I don't think they would fall unless they're not properly hooked up on the wall. Your knickknacks and books are also going to rattle around on shelves. You're going to feel movement beneath your feet here. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes, you're going to feel movement beneath your feet. 4.0s, that's when there's going to be some damage. 4.0s are moderate earthquakes. 4.0, 4.9 are moderate earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes can cause pictures to fall off of walls. Pictures and plaques fall off walls. Dishes rattle, dishes and plates and glasses rattle around in cupboards, and they could rattle around enough to crash out and break. It can happen. Books and knickknacks on shelves fall off of shelves. Now, why am I telling you this? You can see this activity all day long here, especially at the bottom green and black lines. Very prevalent, huh? And also in the blue line above it after 1:30, actually after 1:37 this afternoon. 3.5 earthquake or larger. What's happening here? This is magma down beneath the surface. Magma down beneath the surface, forcing its way towards the surface. Now, I don't think we're going to have a volcanic eruption anytime soon. Please don't misunderstand me. The magma is going through the bedrock like I've told you before. The magma is trying to force its way through the bedrock, smacking into the bedrock, causing rock fracturing, which is actual earth movement. That's what the magma is doing. It's causing rock fracturing. As the magma moves up into the volcano, it's hitting the summit of the volcano. There's a great big huge lava rock that is hardened up there. The lava hardened up there after the last eruption a lot of years ago. When it hardened, it allowed the magma beneath it to hammer into that summit. Now that magma summit, that lava rock at the summit is probably very deep inside the volcanic chamber. So we have magma hitting that rock. Sometimes I've been told by people who live in this area, they've actually smelled sulfur dioxide. Rotten egg smell here. That's because of the water that's in the magma. 67% of all magma is water. So when that magma is forcing its way up to the summit of the volcano, little fissures develop in that lava rock. Little fissures develop in that lava rock from the magma beneath it hammering on it. When that fissures get large enough, it allows that steam to escape from the magma. What happens when hot steam escapes from anything? It causes the area the steam is escaping through to become larger. This is a physics test. These cracks get even larger, allowing more and more steam to escape. What happens when the cracks in this rock get large enough? Then we have a volcanic eruption. Don't we? At some point in time, that's going to happen. I do not think that a volcanic eruption here is going to happen anytime soon. Yes, it could. But I'm not saying it will. I doubt it will. I honestly doubt it will happen anytime soon. But I'm just telling you what we're seeing here and what's causing it. These are earthquakes, but it's being caused by magma down beneath the surface here. Magma down beneath the surface of La Puente and Walnut, California. Sammy Presswood's here in the chat saying there's a lot of diamonds and gold being made in those magma chambers. You're right. And yes, they have mined diamonds and gold here during the gold rush back in the 1800s. They have mined gold and silver and even diamonds over here in the LA, San Francisco area during the gold rush of the 1800s. Yes, it did happen. Now let's go into the Imperial Valley to the south. I did not pull up, and I could. Let me go back over here really quick. Let me see if we have. Whoa, wait a minute. We have to show you this. We have to show you this. We have a lot of activity in San Diego County. We have a lot of activity in San Diego County, and this is a first. I don't think we've seen this kind of activity in San Diego in a very long time. I don't think we've seen this kind of activity in San Diego in a very, very long time. And yes, we're going there right now. Watch us see this. This particular seismograph is located at the San Diego Gas and Electric Building just north of downtown San Diego in Mission Valley. Guess what we're seeing here? We're seeing minor tremors, minor earthquakes, and guess what? Small 3.0 earthquakes here. Small 3.0 earthquakes here. But guess what? Over here after 7:45 a.m. this morning, 7:47 a.m., the seismic activity hits here. And yes, it hit here earlier than that, after 7:27 this morning on the red line above it to the right. But I want to talk about this one first. Look at this green earthquake sequence. Look at the top and the bottom. The seismologist cut off the top and the bottom of this earthquake sequence. That means this earthquake is probably larger than what we're showing you here. This earthquake was probably at least a 3.5 earthquake here in San Diego this morning. 7:47 a.m. this morning. 3.0, 3.5 earthquake hit here. This sequence lasted over a minute and a half. Then off to the right, we had a secondary wave that lasted another 45 seconds. Lasted another 45 to 50 seconds, in fact. So we have like 3 minutes of seismic activity here. 3 minutes of seismic activity from the beginning to the end of it. Okay? But over to the right above that on the red line. This seismic sequence after 7:45 didn't happen just right there. This sequence started with tremors. Excuse me. Started with tremors at approximately 7:12 a.m. this morning. 7:12 it started with tremors. 7:13 it continued with tremors. Right before 7:14, all of a sudden we had 2.0 earthquake. After that it became a 2.9, 3.0. That seismic sequence lasted about 15 seconds. 15 to 20 seconds. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake for 15 seconds. Then we don't see the top of this sequence here. We see the bottom of it. It continued. It abated for a few seconds, but it continued. And the agency is not showing you the upper part of this seismic sequence, but it did continue. 3.0 earthquakes happened. 3.0 earthquakes happened, off and on for almost a full minute here. Then, at 7:45, we see tremors again. The seismic sequence died down to tremors. But 2 minutes later, it started up again. Started with tremors and all of a sudden became a 2.8, 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, which became a 3.0 earthquake. That's what happened here. Okay? It started at 7:12, or 7, I'm sorry, not 7:12. 7, started at 7:27 this morning. On the blue line, it didn't continue at all. I'm sorry. Misinformed you there. It started about 7:27 a.m. this morning. Over on the blue line at 7:30, it didn't happen at all. At all. We started seeing a blue line increase over here on the right. Tremor increase here. Then all of a sudden at 7:45, we had more tremors for about 2 minutes. 7:47, it got into the full gear. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake, and suddenly we had a 3.0 sequence here. And they cut it off, didn't they? They cut it off at top and the bottom. So this could have been a 3.5 earthquake here. San Diego City. San Diego City. Now, after 8:15, you see that happen. Then we come across here on the red line. We come across to about 8:23 a.m. this morning. Tremors and 2.0 earthquakes. 8:24. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 8:25. Suddenly we have a 3.0 earthquake sequence that lasts about 15 seconds. Maybe longer. 15, maybe 20 seconds. Then we went down to tremors again and suddenly kicked up about 15 seconds later. 3.0 earthquake sequence here. San Diego City, guys. San Diego City. The residents here in Mission Valley especially felt it. I don't think the residents in downtown San Diego felt it. But the residents north of San Diego City, the north part of San Diego City in Mission Valley felt it. They felt this earthquake. Now, I didn't bother, I ran out of time here, but I didn't bother pulling up the seismograms from the Institute of Oceanography in La Jolla, California. The Scripps Institute of Oceanography also monitors seismic activity here in San Diego City. I didn't bother to look at the seismograms here in San Diego City, but I will. But I can guarantee you what? More seismic activity in the city of San Diego, and maybe all over San Diego County. All over San Diego County. Now, the San Andreas Fault is way out east over in Imperial Valley. However, what do we have here? What fault do we have here in San Diego? Those of you that live here in San Diego, you could answer me, couldn't you? It's called the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault comes out of Los Angeles, off the Newport Inglewood Fault. Comes out of Los Angeles out to sea. It goes inland over into Encinitas, California, North San Diego County. Then it runs along the coastline of San Diego, all the way down here. It goes over into downtown San Diego and out into the harbor again. The Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault is capable of a 6.5, 7.5 earthquake. The Rose Canyon Fault here in San Diego is capable of a 6.5, 7.5 earthquake. And it could happen. It could happen. Demon Catman says we're getting hit with solar weather. I'll talk about that again in a second, Demon. I appreciate you saying that. I want to talk about that before I show you this seismic activity, because what happens with the sun affects seismic activity. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go over to the Imperial Valley. Over east into the Imperial Valley, we have the San Andreas Fault. Guess what? We're also seeing increased seismic activity in the Imperial Valley. Let me show you that. Let's go over to Holtville, California. Holtville, California is over on the southeast side of the Imperial Valley. Look what we're seeing here. This is increased activity here in the Imperial Valley as well. Look at that. Yes, we're seeing a ton of tremors here. We're also seeing 2.0, 2.5, and even 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. Down at the bottom after 3 p.m. here on the black line. 3:04 p.m. this afternoon, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Holtville, California. Holtville, California. Back in the 70s, I was on a speech and debate team out of San Diego. We came here to Holtville for a speech and debate tournament. I've been here. I know this area very well. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake just after 3:04 p.m. this afternoon. But guess what? It didn't stop. On the red line over here on the right-hand side. Okay? Here we have 3:23 p.m. this afternoon on the red line. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake again. It didn't stop, did it? You can see the 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes here. You're also seeing 2.0 minor earthquakes. You're also seeing tremors here. Holtville is moving, guys. Holtville is moving. No, this isn't the largest seismic activity we've seen here. We've seen many 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in Holtville. But this is still ongoing. The seismic activity has not decreased. Down here in Holtville, we're seeing these earthquakes because of the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here. Holtville, California, guys. Holtville, California. Let me go over and show you something else. Let me show you Imperial, California. Imperial, California is a town just south of the Salton Sea by about 20 miles. Here in the Imperial Valley, in the town of Imperial, you're seeing a lot of tremor activity. Yes, we're seeing some 2.0, 2.8 earthquake activity as well. Up on the black line here after 9 a.m. this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake this morning. This happened at 8 minutes after 9 this morning in the town of Imperial, California. Yes, it did happen. It's continuing to happen. It's continuing to happen now. I kid you not, guys. I've been watching this. I've been watching it for a very long time. We know what's going on. We know exactly what's going on. This is also on, guess what? The San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here, guys. I kid you not. Now I want to go over and show you El Centro, California. Okay? I'm going to show you El Centro in just a second. El Centro is not on the San Andreas Fault. It's west of there. The San Andreas Fault is near the San Jacinto Fault. The San Andreas Fault runs alongside the right side or the east side of the Salton Sea. El Centro lies over on the west side of the Imperial Valley. Let me show you El Centro today. Look at this. We have one of our EMA family members. His name's Juanito. He and his wife and children live here in El Centro, California. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing 3.0 and 3.5 earthquakes here. Usually we see a lot more 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. A lot more. Sometimes as many as 15 to 20 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes. These are small earthquakes. But you can see the seismic activity here. This is ongoing. This continues every day, every hour, every minute of the day. You can see what I'm talking about. They started actually before 5 a.m. this morning, but the seismogram here does not show before that. It shows after 5 a.m. every day. But you're seeing this activity. It continues all day long, 24/7. Right here you're seeing at least 15 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here today. On the black line towards the bottom here. This black line towards the bottom, let me increase the size of this seismogram so you can see what I'm talking about. Down here at the bottom. This is a 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 earthquake. This happened after 4 a.m. this morning. 4 a.m. this morning here. This particular seismogram starts at 5 p.m. last night. This particular seismogram starts at 5 p.m. last night. It's not like the others. Look at this activity happening all night long. You have to sleep through this. The ground is moving here. You feel as you're trying to sleep here, laying on your bed, you're feeling your bed shake, the floor shaking. That's what you're seeing here. This is exactly what you're seeing here. Guess what? Back-to-back earthquakes in some cases. In one case last night, we go over here on the black line here just after 11 p.m. At approximately 11:06 to 11:07 this last night, 3.0 earthquake. The same thing happened a half hour later. Actually, I'm sorry, an hour later, on the black line after midnight. That doesn't often happen. Earthquakes don't often happen right after the other like that. 11:07 and 12:07. Incredible. You see all kinds of earthquakes here today. Last night and early this morning right here. After 4 a.m. here, 4:07 a.m. we have a 3.3, 3.4 earthquake here, I believe. 3.3, 3.4 earthquake here, as well as other 3.0s. This is on the San Jacinto Fault. So seismic energy is coming out of Los Angeles here. The San Jacinto Fault comes off the San Andreas Fault north of Los Angeles, way north of Los Angeles out there to the east. Then the San Jacinto Fault carries the energy down here, all the way down here to El Centro, California. That's what's going on, guys. Richard Smith says it looks like a fish fighter. You're right. You're right. But this is what's happening in Southern California. Like I said, there is a lot of seismic activity here in Southern California, and there's an increase in seismic activity here, as I've shown you tonight. The Earth is moving. Earth is moving all over Southern California. The San Andreas Fault is going to cause all the other faults on the west side over in the valley around Los Angeles to move. There's going to be a lot of destruction here in the LA, San Diego area. when that happens. It's going to happen. Do we have any questions here? Do we have any questions here? Jenny Pearl says, yummy. That's funny. That's funny. Do we have any questions from anybody about what we showed you tonight? Yes, this is a lot of activity. This is a lot of activity in Southern California, but it's right. It's happening. It's happening. Okay. Guys, as we've been doing for quite some time, I try to provide you a devotional, something positive and uplifting at the end of our programs. I found a speaker to speak to you tonight. This is a great man. Great man. I want him to talk to you, to uplift your spirits. He gives a very motivational talk here. Listen to this talk.
Many years ago, I took the scouts on a camp out in the desert. The boys slept by a large fire they had made, and like every good scout leader, I slept in the back of my truck. In the morning, when I sat up and looked at the campsite, I saw one scout whom I will call Paul, who looked particularly rough around the edges. I asked how he had slept, and he replied, "Not very well." When I asked why, he said, "I was cold, the fire went out." I said, "Well, fires do that. Wasn't your sleeping bag warm enough?" No answer. Then one of the other scouts loudly volunteered, "He didn't use his sleeping bag." I asked in disbelief, "Why not, Paul?" Silence. Then finally the sheepish reply, "Well, I thought if I didn't unroll my sleeping bag, I wouldn't have to roll it up again." True story. He froze for hours because he was trying to save 5 minutes of work. We may think, how foolish. Who would ever do that? Well, we do it all the time in much more dangerous ways. We're in effect refusing to unroll our spiritual sleeping bags when we don't take the time to sincerely pray, study, and earnestly live the gospel each day. Not only will the fire go out, but we will be unprotected and grow spiritually cold. When we are complacent with our covenants, we are complicit with the consequences. The Lord has counseled us to beware concerning yourselves, to give diligent heed to the words of eternal life. And he further declared, "My blood shall not cleanse them if they hear me not." In reality, it is much easier to be all in than partially in. When we are partially in or not in at all, there is in the Star Wars vernacular a disturbance in the force. We're out of sync with God's will and therefore out of sync with the nature of happiness. Isaiah said, "The wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. There is no peace, saith my God, to the wicked." Fortunately, no matter where we are or where we have been, we are not beyond the reach of the Savior who said, "Therefore whoso repenteth and cometh to me as a little child, him will I receive, for of such is the kingdom of God. Behold, for such I have laid down my life and have taken it up again." As we continually repent and rely upon the Lord, we gain strength as we come full circle in possessing the humility and faith of a little child, but enriched with the wisdom born from a life of experience. Job proclaimed, "The righteous shall also hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger." It was Tennyson who wrote, "My strength is as the strength of 10, because my heart is pure." The Lord has counseled, "Stand ye in holy places and be not moved." Our son Justin passed away at age 19 after fighting a lifelong disease. In a sacrament meeting talk he gave not long before he left us, he shared a story that must have resonated with him about a father and his young son who went into a toy store where there was an inflatable punching bag in the shape of a man. The boy punched the inflatable man, who tipped over and immediately bounced back after every punch. The father asked his young son why the man kept bouncing back up. The boy thought for a minute and then said, I don't know. I guess it's because he's standing up on the inside. In order to be all in, we need to stand up inside, come what may. We stand up inside when we wait patiently upon the Lord to remove or give us strength to endure our thorns in the flesh. Such thorns may be disease, disability, mental illness, death of a loved one, and so many other issues.
Okay, he's talking about being strong. Stand up for what we believe in. Doing what we need to do to be strong. Stand up for our beliefs. Stand up for our spiritual beliefs as well. We need to pray. We need to read the scriptures. We can become strong and stand up inside as well. Stand up to our spiritual beliefs and let us move. Let us set an example for everybody else. Let's set an example for everybody else. Don't be like that young scout, not willing to unroll your sleeping bag so you can get a good night's rest. What happened when he did that? He almost froze. He got very cold because he didn't take 5 minutes to unroll his sleeping bag and get inside. Sometimes we do the same thing. We don't take the time to stand up. We don't take the time to do what's right. And as a result, we are not good in the Lord's sight. We are not doing the things we need to do. Brothers and sisters here, I ask each and every one of you tonight, stand up. Stand up straight. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Get a testimony of Jesus Christ. Read the scriptures. If you already don't have a testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ, read your scriptures. Read your scriptures. Then pray. Ask the Lord himself if what you're reading is not true. I bear you my testimony right now. I want to bear you my testimony right now that the scriptures are true. Young Joseph Smith read the scriptures. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. We can have that same promise. All we have to do is study and pray, and we will get the answers from God as to what we need to be doing in our lives. I bear you my testimony that Jesus Christ lives. His gospel is upon the earth today, and it's true. He wants us to live. He wants us to stand up and be counted. He wants us to stand in holy places. Please, brothers and sisters, do that. Do that. God wants you to stand with him. I know what I'm telling you is the truth. I have lived it. I've honored that testimony that I have. And I give you that testimony in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Folks, tomorrow night we'll be back on the air between 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Time here on the EMA program, Emergency Management Associates program, between 6 and 7 p.m. If anything else happens between now and then, we're going to come back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Tonight we had earthquakes happening over in northern Chile, Coquimbo, Chile. 5.6, 5.7 earthquakes and more. We'll talk more about that tonight or tomorrow when we come on the air. Like I said, if anything else happens tonight or in the morning, we'll be able to come on the air and tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a great night and a better tomorrow. We will see you on the other side. Take care, everybody. Take care of each other and love each other. Have a great one, guys. I love you very much. See you on the other side. Good night, everyone.